Hey, what's going on? Zeusper here, welcoming you to our Week 9 match in the PCL D-League. This week we're going up against Love, coach of the Atlanta Aerodactyls. They are over in the other conference of the D-League this season. His team is very scary. Looking at what he did end up bringing, he brought the Incineroar, the Thunderous Incarnate, Slowking, Gliscor, Sylveon, and Dialga. He also had, I believe, he had the Mega Lopunny, which I was surprised did not come to this match. Was there anything else that he had on his team that I was surprised didn't come? I just figured Mega Lopunny would have come just because it's such a threat anytime it can be on the field. It could just be a nuke with Fake Out, Last Resort. Let me pull up his team real quick so I can just kind of see if there was anything else that I was surprised did not come. No, I think this was probably the best team he could have brought. Shaman was there, but I think Shaman had a pretty bad matchup against my team this week. Registeel I could have also seen, I guess, come. He could have been like a curse set. And that would have been a little bit annoying for me to deal with, but I did have the Rotom for that, so I guess I'm not too surprised he didn't bring that. But anyways, what I brought this week was I brought the Toxapex, the Rotom Heat, the Landorus Farian, the Greninja, the Jirachi, and the Mega Gallade. So looking at what his team was and what my team was, I figured that my best lead option was probably going to be the Toxapex, just because he only had two Mons that would immediately force me to switch out, being the Thunderous or the Slowking. So I do decide just to go ahead and lead with Toxapex, and if he did lead with any of those two, I could just switch out. As we do see here that he does just lead with the Incineroar. Now, here I'm thinking that he's probably just going to hard switch or U-turn out, so that way he doesn't catch a Scald, but he just to stay in and go for the knockoff. So I do get rid of, or he does get rid of my Black Sludge, which is unfortunate, but I still have Regenerator, so it's not too big of an issue. As I did go ahead and I got the Toxic off on the Incineroar, I was predicting like a switch. Here he does U-turn though, so he is going to be switching out. I believe I just went for another Toxic, figuring that he probably was going to switch. Or I might have just clicked the Scald, now that I think about it, we'll see. No, I just clicked Recover, just to see what he wanted to go for. Seeing if he wanted to stay in, maybe hit off with an Earthquake, that's why I went for the Recover. Here, I figured he's probably predicting to switch, and he wouldn't go for the Thunderbolt. And even if he did, it wouldn't have killed me unless he's like Life Orb or Choice Specs, which we didn't see. He's Life Orb, and if he's Choice Specs in the HP Ice, then I'm just basically free to switch out at this point, which is what I'm going to do, because I don't want to take the Thunderbolt now, and I will switch out into my Rotom Heat, because my Rotom Heat is my special wall this week. He does go for the Thunderbolt, which we absolutely just eat up. And so we know he has what I'm assuming is HP Ice and Thunderbolt. We know he's not choiced in anything. And he is Toxic, so here I'm thinking that he's going to switch out. So I just threw off a Will-O-Wisp. I figured he's not going to go into the Incineroar, because he probably can't do too much to me outside like knockoff. So we do get the Will-O-Wisp off on the Gliscor, which is huge, because if this thing's burned, A, it's not going to be a threat offensively, and B, it's not going to have the Toxic or Recovery if it's that set. So here he does switch out, and he's actually going to switch out into his Sylveon. Here I believe I just switched out hard into my Jirachi, figuring that had he stayed in, he was not going to be clicking Earthquake on my Levitate Rotom Heat. And I figured this is a great time for me to go ahead and just click Calm Mind on the Sylveon, just because the Sylveon's not going to be able to touch me unless it's like Shadow Ball, but even then it would have to get like a crit to get through my Calm Mind. He does have Heal Bell, which is very good on his part, because half of his team was status at that point. And here he's just going to switch out into an Incineroar, as I did just decide to go ahead and click the second Calm Mind, figuring that these Sylveons is still not able to touch me. It can't Toxic me, it can't Status me, and it can't really touch me offensively. And at this point, I have HP Fighting, and that's what I'm going to go for. And I calc it, and I know at +2, it's not going to kill. But seeing what he took from that there, I figured now that he has to be like an Assault Vest variant. And he does go for the knockoff, knocks off our Shuka. And at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and sack my Jirachi. Get this thing as low down as possible, because if I can get rid of the Incineroar, my Landorus can come in and do work, as he is just going to go ahead and Darkest Lariat me now and take out my Jirachi. But unfortunately, my Jirachi's Calm Mindset didn't pay off as well as I would have wanted, but I can't be upset nevertheless. I do bring in my Toxapex here because it's my best thing for this Incineroar. I didn't want to switch out into Landorus at this point because he did have the Gliscor. But he's just going to go ahead and switch out into Thundurus. This time I went just for the Scald. Just in case he thought he might have stayed in, or maybe he would have switched out into the Gliscor for some reason. But now that he's out into his Thundurus, I'm going to make that switch now this time. And he does go for the Thunderbolt because last time I did stay in with my Toxapex turn 1. So we do catch him there, which is really nice. And now this time I believe I just go for the Volt Switch here. Actually, I'm not 100%. Let me see. No, I just go for the Will-O-Wisp just to play it safe in case he did want to go out into the Gliscor. And we're going to see here, after I go ahead and get my Leftovers recovery, that I'm figuring that if he brought this thing in, he's probably got like Wish. And he's probably going to set up the Wish. So I'm just going to go ahead and Volt Switch out. And now, unfortunately, I didn't really have like, the best switch-ins into this Sylveon, because I didn't want to take the unnecessary damage on like the Landorus. So I did just go out into my Toxapex, as he does just go ahead and go for the Wish. And seeing that he is at full or nearly full HP on the Sylveon, I'm figuring he's going to pass this out try to pass this out either into the Incineroar or the Thundurus. I don't want to take the risk that it's the Incineroar, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw off the Scald here, as he does just go ahead and goes on the Thundurus. We're not going to be doing anywhere near enough, and he is going to get a lot of his HP back, almost back up to full. And once again, I'm going to have to switch out into my Rotom Heat here. And this time he does just go ahead and makes the safest play on his part and goes for the Dark Pulse. So now we know 3 of his moves. We know he's not choiced, which is crucial for us later on in the match. As he just go ahead and throws out another Dark Pulse, as I'm just going to Volt Switch here. And I'm actually going to go out into my Landorus Fairy in here, and I'm going to Hard Switch out into, I believe my Rotom Heat here, I want to say. I know I Hard Switch here, because I think he's going to stay in and click HP Ice, so I wanted to read that and go out into my own switch, which would have been my Rotom Heat. And unfortunately, because he did bring his Gliscor in, at the end of this turn here, we do see that the Toxicor does pop for him. So, unfortunately, he is going to be getting recovery from that. But he does just U-turn, which tells me that he probably doesn't have very much, if anything, for my Rotom Heat. He's probably not carrying the Stone Edge, as I just decided to go ahead and throw off the Overheat. And at this point, I figured he's probably going to be setting up another Wish. And if he does set up the Wish, my best bet is to try to go out into Landorus at this point. Because my Landorus does have Rock Polish. So I am going to just go ahead and Volt Switch out. Seeing that he's staying in, I'm sure that now he's not clicking Hyper Voice against my Rotom. So I can just bring in my Landorus here somewhat for free, as we do go ahead and see that the Wish does come off. And now, seeing that he's shown Wish, he's shown Heal Bell, I'm assuming he's not at all offensive, so I know I can go ahead and set up and not worry about the hyper voice, as he does show off the protect, so you do know 3 of his moves. As I do just go ahead and click the rock polish here, as he does get almost back up to full. And now I do have the fly NMZ fly, but I don't think it's necessarily going to kill this range, so I am just going to take this one turn to click Earthquake and see what he wants to go for instead. So Earthquake is doing a massive damage, so actually Fly NMZ might have killed at that range, but I didn't want to risk him switching out either, and like me wasting it on like the Incineroar. So he did go ahead and go for the Hyper Voice, and at this point I do think I go for the do I just go for the Stone Edge? Yeah, I go for the Stone Edge here, I believe, predicting him to maybe go out into the Thunderous, even though that wouldn't have been the greatest of options for him. So I do go ahead and I click the Stone Edge, kill the Incineroar. Earthquake would have easily killed it as well. And now he's bringing out his Slowking here. And now he brings the Slowking in here, I'm thinking I just want to get as much damage on this as possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and YOLO it, click my Z move. Even at -1, Fly NMZ is going to be doing at least like 60% to the Slowking. So I can get off a massive chunk of damage on this and then bring in my Greninja potentially to clean it up. And as we see here, we luckily and unfortunately for Love get the crit, so we do actually take out a second Mon with our Thunderous, not Thunderous, our Landorus, and he brings out the Dialga here. And the way he brings out this Dialga, I know he's going to kill me with something, but I just want damage off on this thing. Because even at -1, this Earthquake is still going to be doing more than half, like about 60%. And he is going to just click the Flash Cannon and take us out. And now that he's shown Flash Cannon, I'm assuming that he might be choiced at this point. And if he's choiced into Flash Cannon, I can just go out to my Greninja for free, because Flash Cannon won't KO me. As I do just go ahead and go for the low kick. We see he's not scarfed, but he does have the Chople Berry. And now, luckily enough for us, because of that Earthquake chip damage, even at half damage, the low kick is going to be doing enough. I calced it after the match, and low kick, even after the Chople Berry, would have done like 50%. He brings out his Sylveon here, as I just go ahead and go for the Gunk Shot. I had Ice Punch, and Ice Punch may have killed, but it was a roll, I think, depending on how defensively invested it was. So I didn't want to take the risk there, and I figured he couldn't have killed me anyways if I was a poison type. And now here I want to pause, because you'll see here that he actually outspeeds me. And now I don't know what I was thinking when I was making the team, but I prepped for Thunderous Therian, and even before the game started, I noticed he was Thunderous Incarnate, and I had to double check on the Google Drive, the Google Doc, and of course he does have Thunderous Incarnate, so I just prepped wrong. I was meant to outspeed the Thunderous Therian on his team, had he had that instead, so that's actually why he outspeeds me here. But because I'm not water type, the Thunderbolt isn't quite going to be enough to KO me, and I am going to be able to just click the Ice Punch and pick up the kill on the Thunderous. And now he has one Mon left, being the Gliscor, and I have a multitude of options to take this thing on. But I'm just going to go ahead and stay in here, click the Ice Punch, and we'll see here that the Ice Punch is going to be enough to take out the Gliscor. So Greninja gets 4 kills in this game, with Landorus getting the other 2. Unfortunately, that crit really did lose Love the game, because had I not critted the Slowking, I would have had to bring in my Greninja on it, and then he probably would have switched out into something else. And who knows how the game would have played out in that end had I not gotten the crit. But because I did, he was forced to go out into his Dialga at that point, take the chip damage, which put him in range of a low kick, and then just let Greninja sweep up at that point. So good game though to Love. The beginning of the game was very back and forth, I thought. I think I did a good job of getting statuses spread around on a lot of his mons early on. He did a good job of prepping by bringing the Heal Bell and the Sylveon. I'm super sad that the Jirachi set didn't quite work out as well, but it did put in enough chip damage to put Incineroar in range of basically anything on my team. So that was nice on that part. That does put us at 4-5 for the season. We do have one more game left. It is against Blazing Squid, coach of the Toronto Totodiles, and they are, I want to say they've only lost one game this season, and they are in our conference. So they're going to be trying to win that game so that they can guarantee the first seed in the conference, which would give them the week 1 bye. So it's not going to be any easy game. But if we can win that game, that would put us at 5-5 for the season, which, considering how the season started and kind of went, I would not be too upset at all finishing. I think there's like some very, very weird slight chance that I could make playoffs if I go in 5-5, but I would need like some weird scenarios to happen in front of me for that to even potentially happen. So it's very unlikely. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next week in our potential probable finale of the PCL D-League, or at least for sure our finale of the regular season. So see you guys then. Bye-bye.